son sat in the courtroom screaming. You have no idea, if you're not in the family court system, sitting on one of those benches, watching what happened, you have no idea, and it's about time you do something, you are aware, and you take action. Because I have lost my children, and my child, the minor child, is with a very dangerous psychopath right now, and no one in the state of New Hampshire will save him. No one. Guess who pays the child support? Me. Do you know what they do? They look at the both parents and they say, who's the parent who's never going to give up? Her. Who's the parent who's going to keep this racket going? Who's the parent who's going to file motion after motion after motion after motion for parental interference? The hundreds of motions, and you can all go down to the family court and check, every one of them has been denied. Every single one of them. And I have been kept from my child for years. I have missed his first day of high school, every one of his hockey games. I have been labeled as emotionally and psychologically damaging to my child because in a courtroom I present real evidence saying my child is in danger. Believe me, I don't act like this in a court of law. What I'm saying to you is this bill is a great stepping stone, and that's what I call it. It's baby steps to get to the real issues facing the state of New Hampshire. You have no idea. I talk to thousands of parents a day who are victim to this. Google it. Google court corruption. Google mothers losing custody. So for years and years and years, mothers were getting custody and it was unfair to the fathers, and I agree with that, right? So 80% of the time, mothers were awarded custody and fathers were alienated or estranged. Then there was the development of the fathers' corrupt rights movement, not the good fathers, because I work with them every day. These people came in with lots of money and lots of bribes, and you've got a whole racketeering industry going on. It's $100 billion a year industry. Every state is funded with billions of dollars to take fit parents away. If you look up Title 4D, misuse and misappropriation, it would shock you. The state of New Hampshire is matched dollar for dollar on every child support payment I make. So guess what? They make it real high so that I'm homeless and I can't afford the child support and I can't afford to live. Secondly, they chose the parent who's not going to leave their job after 30 years as a VA nurse, right? Who's the parent we can get the most money out of? Who's the parent that's going to show up here time and time again as a pro se litigant? We're going to feed the bar attorney of the ex-husband. We're going to feed our retirement accounts from everything we can get. We're going to find her in contempt and assess her contempt fees, because that goes through the Division of Health and Human Services and the Office of Child Support. And they want proof of every payment I've made. Because you know why? It's part of their federal reimbursement. Well, I will tell you something. I am never going to stop my fight to expose this corruption. My children have been taken for greed and profit and to fund the retirement accounts of corrupt judges. The cruelty in my case is so horrific, like I said, that you would die. You could go down and you could listen to every hearing and look at every decision and come back here and let's have a meeting and see if your view of family court doing the right thing or in the best interests of the child is even a consideration. This phrase of best interest of the child is just a phrase. The best interest of the child means which parent can I attach the most child support to? And which parent can I get under Title 4D funding and keep this racketeering going? Is that in the best interest of the child? I had insurmountable evidence for abuse. My ex-husband is on the DCYF New Hampshire Central Registry for abuse and neglect to children till 2018. How do you like that? And he has sole custody of my son. So you're probably all shocked here, but I'm gonna tell you like it is. It's not about his law. His law might make one corrupt judge say, oh gee, they're gonna make me accountable for RSA, start at shared custody. With judges having full immunity and judges having discretionary power, they're gonna do whatever they want to keep this racketeering going. And what I need all of you to do is to take action on it, because I am one person. I can't do it. I'm not a position of authority in the state of New Hampshire, but I'm a victim. And I will continue to speak out and continue to get wrenches in my tires. And I hope that if they do kill me, like I say to Mike Gill, they kill me all the way. Because my pain and suffering at the hands of what you call a justice system is unbelievable. And I am not the only parent. I am one of thousands that I have met in the state of New Hampshire that are fit, loving, protective parents, both fathers and mothers.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Does anybody have any questions?
You probably all need Valium now, but I'm sorry. You had to hear the truth, because this bill is only touching the surface of what's really going on in family court.
Representative Oligny, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for your testimony. We've heard some stories over the years, as you can imagine, and it's, I'm sorry for your, what you've been through in the
I'm
pain.
sorry, too.
And I'm hoping we can change something. So I think your explanation, this is a step in the right direction.
Correct.
I agree with. So let me just ask my question. You mentioned 4 years, a lot of litigation. You're a nurse.
Appeal to the New Hampshire Supreme Court
So that's, my question is.
at $150,000.
That.
$150,000 I have paid to support the legal fight for my children, but then you take them away. I've appealed to the New Hampshire Supreme Court, but the judge didn't terminate my parental rights until I had already filed my Supreme Court brief. So this didn't come till later. So it's all part of the plan. There's a lot of corruption in the state, and I'm sorry if you don't want to know about it, but I'm not shutting up.
Well, thank you, and we don't want you to.
No, I won't.
To restrain.
These are
We wanna
my
know
children.
You're a customer of the system that we're here to provide laws to guide. My question about money is, you mentioned you're a nurse, and I have to ask a question of your family. You said you were custody was taken from you because you were the one the court felt would continue to fight for your
Yes.
child. Were you
And
also
they
the
told me
parent
that
that
in
made
court.
more money?
I was not the parent who made more money, but I was one of the two parents who consistently had the same job for 30 years and didn't have 45 unemployments. The other thing is that I'm employed in the state of Massachusetts, so the state of New Hampshire double benefits by collecting support from another state, and that's under Title 4D funding. So I assume that this committee has much work to do. I'm available as a resource person because I have spent the past 4 years. I know everything about Title 4D funding.
Thank you.
Throw it on me.
Thank you.
And before there is a case before the Supreme Court. They've waited for 20 years, and it's going to be heard on February 16th. It's Adkins versus Adkins, and it's about the removal of fit, loving parents and the corruption that's going on in the country. It's out of Michigan, and it's been accepted for review on the 16th. So it would be a good thing for all of you to educate yourself in what the Supreme Court will be looking at shortly.
Representative Ingberson had a question.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for your testimony. Just a follow-up on what I was asking Representative Edelblut. Are you familiar, because of all this extensive connection with people, with any other states doing anything right in this direction? and what you're proposing beyond, way beyond this.
Oh, I do, Connecticut is taking action, Pennsylvania is taking action, there's, in Pennsylvania, there's an Attorney General, Catherine Kane, who's exposing all the corruption. It's called the Kids for Cash. And what's happening is all the judges are bringing huge money into the states, which is bonded for their retirement funds. So, which is fine, it's all well and good, but you have taken every penny and my future ability to make a penny to support myself, to pay my abuser for a child I cannot see. Illegal, criminal, inhumane, cruel.
Representative Liddy, oh. Representative, you're all set?
Just a point of order, if I may, you said the Supreme Court, there was a case going there, is that New Hampshire Supreme Court or US Supreme Court?
U.S. Supreme Court, Adkins versus Adkins.
Representative Chase.
You mentioned Pennsylvania. I believe it was in Pennsylvania that we had judges who were actually sending kids to juvenile detention facilities
Yes,
because there was kickbacks
yes.
to it.
So there are,
Question,
there are
Representative.
No,
kickbacks.
I want to know if she's
Correct.
familiar with that.
I'm very familiar with that.
And
There are
is
kickbacks,
this
and
part of the same?
this is all part of the same thing for Kids for Cash. And I have made the judges in my case very aware that I'm on them, which has further angered them to take my child away. So when someone talks about judicial accountability, never mind this 50-50% shared custody, judicial accountability, judicial immunity has got to go. These judges need to be held accountable for the destruction of our families. And guess what? These children are our future. Do you all agree? If you poison half the roots of that child, are they going to grow properly? Are they going to become contributing members to the state of New Hampshire? What happens to them? They numb the pain, they seek heroin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? Thank you very much for your testimony.
You're welcome.
and your time. The next speaker, the next card I have is Thomas McCarthy.
Thank you for hearing me
You
again.
asked for 3 minutes.
Yes. Ditto.
Thank you.
Ditto.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. I get it.
Well,
I
I'm
get what
glad
you're
to
saying.
see some upset women, because you listen to them, I notice everybody listening to them when they're talking. And it's
I'm
well
listening
weighed.
to you.
Well, if I got that upset last time, and Long said if he was the judge, he wouldn't give me my kid. So
Oh,
you can see, you know,
Representative Wong, you're saying.
No,
oh, he spoke out of turn. And you
No
didn't hammer him.
I'm good. It's my volunteer job.
That's good, good, volunteer. But what's happening is, you heard from Judge Foley during last year's session, I was here. Said if you have the accusation of sexual molestation, if I'm the judge, I don't care who comes before me, I'm gonna have to take a look at it. You're gonna have to. You're putting these judges in, they're getting things from the lawyers, the ones out in the field. You're having the foxes guard the hen house. And it's a vicious circle of my child support payments, the double whack from Mass to New Hampshire. It's all about money, Title IV money. Representative O'Leary, Senator Kevin Avard invited this committee to come and watch Divorce Court. It's a documentary on how the system has become, what it's become. Nobody, this is good, this is a great step, hey, especially if you make the false allegation, there's gotta be some sort of retribution. There isn't. Go about it, and you go in and year out. My little girl wants her father, said it in every counseling report, GAL. She's very protective of her father, wants to see him, and she can't understand why she can't see dad. Here we coming up on 7 years. I'm not giving up. There's already laws in place. It's an inalienable right for me to parent my child. You don't have a say about it. The Justice Department doesn't have a say about it. The judicial branch, the executive branch, it's inalienable. You don't have the right to interfere with my parenting, except if I neglect or abuse them. Okay, here's where the issue lies. What's neglect and abuse? Thomas Paul spanked his youngest daughter in the bum. 10 years later, he burnt himself in front of the Keene Courthouse for the years and years of litigation over, he could see his older two daughters, but he couldn't see his youngest daughter. Representative, you were there at his rallies, speaking up, the Redress of Grievance Committee. What happened? They shut it down because 80% of this state's doctrine and its judicial system is family court matters. Now, if you take out, shut it down. Shut it down. You don't have the right. If you get divorced, you know what they do in Sweden? They send you 2 pages. You fill it out and you give it to them. There's no suicides. There's no drug problem from the kids. There's no financial gain to lawyers. Everybody grows up happy and healthy. Hey, I loved you one time. 10 years later, you don't love me. That doesn't make me an unfit parent, does it? Oh, but once a lawyer gets a hold of a client, there's years and years of litigation. I told you before, we litigated for 3 hours in the Rockingham County Courthouse because I brought an activity book to my child. And that was somehow deemed harmful. I can't tell you, there's 7 different judges signed off on hearings, 2 different marital masters in my case, 7 different lawyers, 2 GALs, counselors, wellness checks, forensic psychiatrists, child support. What a racket.
Excuse me, Mr. McCarthy, you've gone 2
Yeah,
minutes over.
thank you very much.
However, I'm gonna ask you to make a closing statement, and then we'll go on to questions for you.
Okay, my closing statement. The Constitution of the United States already says that nobody can interfere with my parenting. It's already there. Yet family law has 27 volumes of, well, abuse might be something. Listen, it's a racket, it's a money-making industry, it's a $1 billion a year industry, and who gets chewed up? Parents? Sure. You know who gets really chewed up? Kids who do heroin and drugs and crime and early pregnancy and everything. The hugest problem in this country is fatherless homes. Statistic came out where a kid is more likely to have a pet than a biological father living in its life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Excuse me, before you sit down, Mr. McCarthy, does anybody have questions for Mr. McCarthy?
Representative Ingersoll,
Representative Ingridson.
my man.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I was appalled by the Thomas Paul thing, but that's all I'll say about that. Extremely appalled.
But that's not a rare case, you know.
I wanted to know, you looked at this bill and you referenced false allegations. Actually don't see it now. It might be in there.
Paragraph 4,
Is it in there?
establish a penalty for, sorry, I need my-
Section 3.
sorry.
Okay, that's all. I
For
want.
frivolous litigation.
Thank you. I just want to know if it wasn't there, if you had a way of incorporating it, so thanks very much. Didn't want you to leave without having said something. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions for Mr. McCarthy? Representative Long.
Thank you for your statements, and this section, the frivolousness, I believe you were talking about was with the court system itself, correct?
Any accusation has to be looked into, and I understand that. But does it take 5, 7, 10 years to discover? That's the length of you going. And believe me, if you don't have money for a lawyer, you ain't getting any justice. I've been pro se myself. And the first thing of the New Hampshire guide to divorce, do not represent yourself in divorce. The first thing it says, don't do it, because you're going into the lion's den and you're gonna get eaten because you're a Christian. My whole thing is, you all know that the Constitution already says this. It says you can't, if you walk in and Joey's got a bruise on his arm, the teacher notices something. Okay, let's look into that. Could he just fell like an accident? Sure. But I mean, when this Title IV money and this domestic violence and the Violence Against Women's Act, it's all tied in together. It's all a vicious circle, all the time. And all you have to do is make the accusation. And then once you finally, you have to, I'm guilty till I prove myself innocent. My kid, my own daughter, hasn't seen me with any normalcy in 7 years. Yet, let's look at what my daughter's been through. Oh, she wants to see her father. Oh, 6 years old. She hates life and wants to kill herself because she can't see her father. Here, Judge, take a look at this. Just let us be together. 50-50, automatically. Put it that way. Keep the real estate, your belongings, your monetary things. There you go. Get a real estate lawyer. Figure it all out. But when it comes to our children, automatically, 50-50. When you walk into divorce, boom, boom. And if you make an accusation, and you know it isn't true, just, here we go. Make it that way. But you should have 50-50, boom, right off the bat. Now, if you had something back up, if you made the false allegation and you were gonna lose X amount of money or X amount of time, maybe people wouldn't do it. Maybe they will. But I haven't seen anything yet that's ever stopped somebody from hurting another person, whether they're in a relationship, outside. It happens. Stuff happens in the home. And but it's my home. It's not anymore. Everything I ever obtained in my life is gone. I can live with it. I really have a hard time living without being a father, because that was the greatest thing I ever was. And as much as a hothead from Boston, I'm the same as it makes you a hothead. It makes you wanna, hey, Judge, you're not here. Get away. You don't have a lawyer, you don't have money. Just keep paying for your kid all the time. But the Constitution and family law, it should change. It should just say 50-50. Boom, right off the bat. When you get a marriage license, in the event you get divorced, all children are to have 50-50 time, regardless. And if you make an accusation of neglect and abuse, and it comes back that it really never happened, then what do? Well, you gotta have something there to back it up. Because if I don't pay child support, like I said, I got pulled over, what's the matter, officer? Oh, you're behind on your child support. No, I'm not. Well, at least according to my computer, it says that. Arrest, tow your truck, in jail. Wow, what a lovely ride down Main Street. Thanks, yeah. I'm telling you, 50-50. Stop that money chain. You're never gonna do it. If this committee, Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, Florida just initiated one. 50-50. There it is. Put it on the table. Let's see if it passes. You'll have every lawyer in the state coming out against it. Because this is how they make a living, off the backs of our kids. And that's why people light themselves on fire. The lady from Bedford shot her 6 and 9-year-olds last year because they're going through custody. The father in Manchester has to see his kid ended up shooting his son and himself. This is what happens out there. Lawyers are making money, it's all legal, stop it. 50-50 with the kids. Real estate, money, cars, banks, accounts. By all means, let's go in and litigate it. See what you got. See what you can keep our children out of it.
Thank you.
Okay? So please, make a bill that just says automatically in the state of New Hampshire, 50/50.
One further question from Representative Alini.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. McCarthy, for your testimony. Let me ask, this 50/50 presumption, we've talked about it for some time in this committee. A common objection is, what if one of the parents, works a difficult schedule?
bad.
What,
Too bad.
what should the court do?
Too bad. None of your business. None of your business where I work, if I shovel shit, or I'm a brain surgeon in Mass General. None of your business.
Thank you. Understood.
Okay. And I'll never say stuff again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That was difficult for you, and I know that. The next person I'd like to call, he asked for 5 minutes, is Mike Gill.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself, and then I'll start the timer.
Okay, my name is Michael Gill. I live in New Hampshire and I have for 58 of my 60 years. What I'm taking out now is a letter from my daughter. Maybe some of you are familiar with what I've been doing with state of corruption. Because that's what you have in family court. The judges are 100% corrupt. And I know there's people in this room that believe that, because I've talked to them. This thing with Title 4D money, you've heard it from a number of victims. You see back here? Other than a couple, I know them all. Right. The little boy and her mother that came in here, I know them too. Why don't you know them, is what I'm saying. Here's victims throughout this whole state. I'm going to read a letter. This letter was written 1/12/07. Okay? It was the day before my birthday. My little girl wrote me this letter. She was 12 years old at the time. On a brisk January morning, a beautiful baby boy was born to 2 deserving parents. This baby became toddler and now has the company of a baby sister. As the family grows, this boy himself became a competitive, hardworking child. He became an older brother to a boy and another sister. His reputation in schools develops as someone who protects the underdogs. He realizes that you believe in yourself in order to accomplish things. His life at home was another world. He was a brother and made fun for his younger siblings, playing tricks and games nonstop. He gradually became a man himself, using his concepts he's learned. He entered himself in the world of business and knew where his place was for him. He started a single fish market and would end up with a chain of successful mortgage companies. He became a father, one by one, to 5 brown-eyed babies. Let each one of them grow uniquely, giving them the lessons and life skills that they would need in their lives. He gave them the freedom to find what they were meant to do in their lives, no matter what it was. The children always knew they had a father like no one other. Someone that stood up for the little guys. Someone who took the hard road in life and made something of himself. The man was a hero in everyone's eyes of his loved ones, especially his daughters. Mariah. Now you ready? I never saw that girl again. She's 21 now. You want to know why I do what I do? This is why. You know what mistake I made? I was wealthy. That's all. You know what my divorce called? In front of Judge Foley, who's corrupt. $5 million. No one argued. My wife was a borderline personality disorder. I had 4 sons I had my whole time. I couldn't see her because she couldn't be left alone. Okay? Now that's the truth. Now that's 10 years later and I'm still right here fighting. That's why I know everybody here. Your family court is corrupt. It is run by the law firms in the state. Who do you think make up the judges? Who do you think make up the lawyers? Where is this Title 4D money? Because I've asked and nobody here knows where it is. They're stealing it. That's what they're doing. This isn't playing laws. I didn't study a study to tell you 2 parents is a good idea. Really? Wow. Right? They're destroying this family. Here's the method. The method is who makes the most money? Who can pay? That's who gets blasted. You're not seeing only men here, you're seeing women here. You know what Diane didn't tell you? That she went out one day in shackles. You know Audrey didn't come here and see? She came out in shackles too. Right? Because you know what they're doing? They're speaking on it. They're bringing it to people's attention. You don't think this is possible? Check the internet. I've got a video coming out. You know what we just had on Tuesday with that young lady that left, Janet? The judge had a ruling, and you know what? She lost on everything. But a big mistake. You know what happened? The defense attorney handed paperwork that had to go to her. The judge stapled it, and you know what he stapled on it? His decision. Right, was already made. Right, how's that fraud on the court, Judge Anderson? Now that's out there. Well, once I put it on the internet, he immediately fixed it. It looked like it was written on crayon. And reversed himself entirely. Now how's that for corruption? We don't doubt that? 100% I've been saying it. Anybody suing me? Anybody saying I'm wrong? Now it's on this committee. The people of this state voted you people in. You've got to know. Frank, I know you know. Me and you talked about Foley.
Excuse me, sir, you've used up your time, but I will leave it open to the committee to ask you questions so that you can get more of your message out.
Yes.
Okay? Representative Rice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your testimony. So, you know we know.
That it's
But
corrupt?
this is children and family law, this is not judiciary. How would you expect us to rein in the judges? is
No
what I'm
problem.
asking.
We have to call in a investigation. We can't have, we cannot have fraudulent, corrupt judges making decisions on our children, especially when we make it so random where they can make anything. We have got to call a cop. Now, the AG's office know this. Now, I am also making this committee aware. I have a complaint with the Department of Justice, which is why I came to people inside this committee. So this is going to be, you've heard Kathleen Kane? Look on the internet, find out who was working with her. Oh yeah, that's me. I just indicted 23 people out in Pennsylvania, and I'm going to do more here. So it's time we start coming forwards and turn around and admit we know it's wrong. And I know that this committee's plugged in too. Okay? Right. But we're going to be looking to you guys if this doesn't change.
Thank you. Any further? Representative Chase.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for taking my question. Maybe I missed it.
Could you speak a little louder?
I'm sorry. Maybe I missed your saying this, but are you a lawyer?
No. And you know something? Neither of any of these people are lawyers, because they can't get lawyers. But I do have an ad in the Law Journal. You know what it's for? $10 million. I can't hire a lawyer for $10 million. So what is all the lawyers out there who know it's corrupt that won't take the $10 million? Right? So you know what? I'm a radio host, but I wasn't one before. I'm running for governor, and I wasn't a politician. So no, I'm a lawyer, but I kicked the ass of the New England Bar Association president now, didn't I? On video.
No more of that word, okay?
That's as good as I can get, under the circumstances.
Representative Alisea.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Gill, thank you for your testimony.